Good morning, class. Before we proceed to our new topic for today, I want you to create your own visual illustrating the topic sentence, taking care of Mother Earth. Allowing the students to create their own visuals can encourage them to learn more about it. Letting the students draw their own visual illustration complements to our topic today. Our previous topic was all about developing materials for different levels, users, and purposes. In developing materials, visuals are also considered if it is used appropriately. Our learning objectives for this lesson are: students will critique visuals whether it follows its objectives. Students will construct a visual that is appropriate to use in a certain topic. Students will recognize the characteristics of visuals that is suitable for different uses. For the learning outcome, at the end of our discussion, students will evaluate a certain lesson by constructing criteria. In this lesson, we will explore visuals in published language learning materials. Published materials in print form are still used in most language classrooms around the globe. Others may think that visuals matter mainly in teaching young learners, just reflecting upon what we read in our daily lives, such as books, newspapers, magazines, emails, texts on internet sites, and social media messages. We may realize how much we are surrounded and influenced by visuals as well as language. Visuals, such as illustrations, can convey a lot of meaning with or without language. This means that visuals can be an aid to explain something without using verbal explanations. Research in social semiotics provide ample evidence that our comprehension and reaction to linguistic text is influenced by visuals, layout, and design at all ages. Visuals, layout, and design are essential parts of meaning making and of language acquisition and development, by Kress and Van Leeuwen in 2006. Later on, as we go through this lesson, we will also discuss layout and design. By visuals, we mean graphic elements such as drawings, photos, and animation as opposed to linguistic text. Here are the major kinds of visuals we often find in published materials: photos, drawings, simplified figures like silhouettes, paintings, collages, cartoons, mock documents that simulate real life documents like road signs, conceptual drawings like an arrow to represent a life cycle, graphs, charts, maps, and diagrams. Functional illustrations like speech or thought bubbles. What really matters in terms of language acquisition and development is what are visuals for. According to the study of Hill in 2003, he analyzed four intermediate level student global young adult and adult course books. He found that each page of materials had two illustrations per page. His closer evaluation of two course books revealed that 55% of their visuals were purely decorative and did not serve any language learning or educational function. As he'll update his study with three more current global course books, he found that over half of the images across the three books are still used purely for decoration. Another study from South Korea by Kim in 2016, he reported his survey of teachers' and students' attitudes towards different types of pedagogic and decorative illustrations in government authorized English textbooks in South Korea. His results showed that the use of illustrations to enhance authenticity was received positively and that the students considered pedagogic illustrations to be more interesting and more useful than decorative illustrations. Kim concluded his presentation by proposing that teachers should choose textbooks that use more pedagogic visuals materials and textbook developers should make an attempt to exclude unnecessary decorative illustrations from their materials. It is very important to identify the objectives behind visuals so that we can use them for valid and effective teaching. Visuals may be used to provide a visual explanation or description for something that may be unfamiliar to the learners. Number two, provide context. For example, we use visuals in introducing characters in a detective story. Number three, show procedures. For example, on how to play a new game. Number four, induce effective responses like curiosity, interest, and laughter. Number five, provoke thoughts and reactions like finding plausible for a mystery. Number six, provide a visual summary. Number seven, achieve consistency and mark changes. And number eight, provide an aesthetic experience. Objective number one, which is visuals may be used to provide visual explanation. It would be difficult for the readers to imagine exotic animals like boa constrictor, iguana, and python regius. Objective number two, which is visuals may be used to provide context. For example, illustrations that provide historical background. In the research of Byron and Baldridge in 2007, they point out that emoticons or emojis are often used to provide contextual clues for the receivers of text or emails. For example, when the topic is sensitive, the sender of the message may add emoticon to reduce the possibility of misunderstanding. Objective number three, visuals may be used to show procedures. Visuals can be very useful as replacement or support for instruction in language learning materials. In this way, the photos provided these procedural clues for the learners to work out what they have to do. Objective number 4 and 5, visuals may be used to induce effective responses and provoke thoughts and reactions, are vital in education and language acquisition. Battle for Big Tree Country by Gregory Strong in 2015 uses black and white illustrations that look like those in graphic novels or comics. Dramatic illustrations achieve impact that teachers could exploit in many ways. Objective number 6, which is visuals, may be used to provide visual summary toward the end of the story. Objective number 7, visuals may be used to achieve consistency and mark changes, which can be an important part of design, but a change of illustrative style or kind of photo, like artistic paintings, historical documents, and color. This can also provide a sense of variety and a fresh feel to different units within a course. Objective number 8. Visuals may be used to provide a static experience. Hill in 2013 quotes Harmer 2001, page 135, who takes a positive view of aesthetic visuals that may give interest or motivation to some learners, especially those with visual orientation. Those who were not visual oriented would dismiss them as purely decorative. Hill in 2013, page 163, argues, based on his analysis of visuals in three well-known global course books, that over 50% of the pictures in a given course book used for purely decorative purposes is a great waste of effort on the part of the publisher and a great waste of opportunity for the language learner and teacher. Hill in 2013 acknowledged that learners nowadays may prefer colorful visuals as reflecting their normal experience. Some learners may be deeply affected by the artistic and aesthetic impact. Long-term and direct effect on students' attitudes to English or to language learning help the learner to learn English better. Visuals are a kind of tool. Just like a pair of scissors or glue, each has characteristics that may be appropriate for different uses. Based on the investigation of Hill in 2003, photos and drawings are the two major kinds of visuals used in course books. Photos are often used to illustrate people, objects, and places in published materials. These are useful for teachers and materials writers if they wish to give impressions of reality and authenticity in terms of people, objects, and events and their historical and social significance. Possible weaknesses of photos may be that they could inhibit learners' imagination and date very quickly, and they are not very flexible if teachers want to focus on, emphasize, or highlight particular features within a photo. Drawings are often used in published materials to illustrate actions and interactions among people. The strength of the drawings is that they are much more flexible and can be made to order in terms of specificity, focus, emphasis, and details. For example, a caricature of a person may highlight the personality much better than a photo can. Another strength of drawing is that it can create not only spatial but also temporary accounts of people, places, and events. For example, teachers can draw simple stick figures on a board and tell a story by gradually adding details on it. The possible weaknesses of drawings may be a lack of authority and the danger of particular artistic styles, including positive or undesirable negative reactions. According to the analysis of Hill in 2013, he noticed a much greater use of photos than drawings. A possible reason may be a greater and simpler access to different types of photographic images parallel to the increased use of electronic technology in publishing. Now that you already know the definition of visuals, kinds of visuals, objectives of visuals, and characteristics of visuals, I want you to get 1/4 sheet of yellow paper. Here's what you're going to do. First, write 3 facts that you learned from the topics discussed. Second, write 2 questions about the topic. Lastly, write 1 opinion about visuals. Here are some evaluation questions about visuals for the criteria in evaluating a course book. To what extent are the visuals varied, attractive, likely to achieve impact, likely to be useful for language acquisition, likely to help learners to make connection with the real world, likely to help the learners to make connections to the world they know, likely to help the learners understand new experiences they are being introduced to, and lastly, likely to facilitate learner creation of mental representation rather than imposing complete visual images. We should also stress that visuals should be selected or developed to achieve specific objectives, be comprehensible for the target learners, be suitable for the target learners, do not replace or inhibit learner visualization, and do not impose interpretations of text they are illustrating. Now you already know what are the things to be considered in evaluating visuals on course books. I want you to construct your own criteria. After constructing, you may now download the link of the PDF in the description box below, and you will evaluate that using the criteria that you have made. Mark chapter 4 verse 34 says, "He did not speak to them without a parable, but privately he explained everything to his own disciples." Jesus chooses to tell stories not all meant to be taken literally, but to definitely get the point across. So let us use appropriate visuals for us not to be misunderstood. For your assignment, compose a reflection paper regarding visuals.